When you were leaving, I need you even more than I did before. You had the last word when you walked out the door. You drive me crazy, I want you to stay here. Now I'm here alone, I hate this party and I don't know anyone. We get drunk and we fight, but I forgive you although you drive me crazy, I want you to stay here. You'll be the death of me still, you're my medicine. Yeah, I need you, I need you. You light my fire just to put me out again. Still I need you. I'm weak for you. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. I'm weak for you. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Now we're back where it started. You say you're sorry, so we forget about it. Simple as that, but I don't know where my heart is. Still all that I want is you. Yeah, you. You'll be the death of me still. You're my medicine. Yeah, I need it, I need it. You light my fire just to put me out again. Still I need you. I'm weak for you. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. I'm weak for you. Yeah, you. Medicine. Yeah, I need it, I need it. You light
All
my fire
right.
just to put me out again. Yeah, I need it.
This is Dad Random. How you all doing? I just wanted to do a quick stream again today, mainly because one of the things that's going on right now is a lot of companies are rebranding and putting out basically similar products. And what we do is we jump on those new products and we forget about what we have. And what I want to really quickly do is I want to breathe some new life into the Action 2, and in hopes that that many of us who have the Action 2 already, who are putting it onto drones and they're using it for basically the same thing you'd use it for any action camera, that you're not forgetting that it does everything that the new Action 3 really does. And what I wanted to do is I wanted you to see some evidence of that. One of the things I did, because it did have one issue, and the issue that I was having was when I would go out and film and I would put my camera in, basically take it out of pro mode and just put it into, I would put it into just plain old, just auto mode, is it would over compensate, and I would get this really washed out footage. And my Pocket 2 didn't do that. You know, the auto function on it was really good. So what I decided to do is, okay, one of the things that a lot of people were doing were throwing ND filters on to help to help the sensor a little bit, so it can compensate for a really super bright light. So what I decided to do this weekend was I would get an ND64, and that's what I did. I bought an ND64 for the Action 2, and the Freewell will allow you to buy just individual ND filters. And so this behind me is a time lapse in bright sunlight with an ND64, helping to compensate for the lighting. And of course, the ND filter acts like a pair of sunglasses. And one of the problems I was having was that my sunglasses were not doing what they were supposed to do. And the camera went into its auto mode, and it just overexposed everything. And all I did with this was to slap on this little bad boy right here. And I bought this. The Freewell has sent me filters before, but they're really good. So I just went and bought one. So for 20 bucks, I went and got just one of these, okay? And that time lapse back there is the result. And I've got another time lapse I'm gonna show you in just a second. But these ND filters, about the only thing I say that I would have any, go ahead and shut this off right there. But is that, you know, these are magnetic and they stick on. Now these filters, there it is, there's the ND64. And you can actually, you can create a housing and fly with this. I'm actually gonna fly, I'm gonna get some drone footage. But I thought I'd start with a little bit of, you know, with just a little bit of motion footage. And that's some hyperlapse. So you guys that aren't familiar with hyperlapses and time lapses, remember a time lapse is when you move the camera through an image, and so a hyperlapse is when you take the camera, you stick it on something moving, and then you slowly move it through footage, and then you get both the camera moving, the scenery moving, and the footage behind it. Now, in a hyperlapse, in a time lapse, you have to have motion because the camera's not moving. Okay, so behind me you can see the reason why this time lapse works so well is all right. So I had a phone call come through. Okay, so on this one, I've got it set into pretty bright sunlight. You can see this is the middle of the day. But the reason why this time lapse works is if you look at the clouds are casting a shadow on the landscape. You've got wind blowing, and those things make a time lapse work. If you don't have any wind, you just don't, and clouds, time lapses don't work very good. The only way you can get a time lapse to work really good in low light is if you have a subject moving in front of you. So I don't really like it when you get things like juniper like that. You can see it instead of just moving, they shake. Okay, so that's I guess one thing, but the clouds just win the day on this specific shot. So this is the ND64. Why didn't I go with an ND62 or 32 or an ND16? Because there's you look at the lens on this. Look at how big this thing is. I wanted to get maximum filtering. Now, the disadvantage of this is if I go into low light, if I go into like when I get lighting that changes, you'll see that in a second what the result is. So I'm gonna switch my time lapse to my second time lapse, and this time lapse here, you'll notice is much darker. Now this is with the camera. I'm gonna go ahead and let me see if I can get this one to, I'm gonna pause it a little bit. But you can see because I'm in a darker, it hurts the highlights. Let me go back here. It hurts the highlights of the flowers. So when you're using an ND64, you're gonna lose light. So you have to understand that some of the stuff that's sitting in the front is not going to be as crispy. Now watch how this really kicks butt here in just a second. So I'm just gonna move this time lapse forward manually, and just see when the light picks up inside of of this scene, and you can see when so if this was an ND16, this would be probably right here. This is what the whole entire shot would be. These images in front of me would be a little bit brighter during the entire shot. So that's what you risk with a darker ND filter, is you will lose some of that highlights. But watch this. I got lucky, and the light started to vary. Do you see that? You see how it's twinkling? So that was just luck. That was just luck of the draw. And with time lapses, you just get lucky. You see how the light's filtering through? Now I do have a little bit of you notice up on top there, let's see if I did get a little piece of glare, a little bit of artifact of glare up top, but I could easily crop that in at any time. So I could take this image and crop in. Let me just take those edges out. And anything that really is not making this image really good. And let's play that time lapse again in full. And there you go. But this is kind of cool, isn't it? I've got the clouds moving in the background, and then I've got nature lighting up my scene. It looks like somebody flipped looked like somebody flipped the lights on. Isn't that sweet? That is just gorgeous. So that is my second time-lapse example. Really quick, I do have a third example that's not in here. Let me see. I'm going to try to bring that third example up. The third example is in full light, and it's further away. And more than likely, you would take that image. Let me go and steal that image in here. I'm actually going to take it right off the camera. I'm going to pull it right in while you guys are here. And while we do that, I am going to move it over really quick to this image here. This is the specs of both the Action 3 and the Action 2. And if you haven't been following those videos, you're going to notice that they're pretty much the same exact image quality sensor. It's the same camera. It's just been changed in its form. The three things that they changed with 3 are they added a longer battery life, which you kind of already get sorry, I'm just going to get the file in here that I want. I'm just going to transfer that third image in really quick. Well, look at how fast. Look at how totally fast that is. Go into my media, and I'm going to pick out. This is the shot right here that I want to pick up here. I'm actually going to play it live. Here, let's just do that. Oh, that is kind of cool, actually. Here, so I'm going to reduce its size, and I'm going to bring it over into frame here for you guys, right there. This is actually a good illustration of how powerful that little camera is. Just go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. And now this is the time-lapse footage. I want to get the full aspect ratio. All right. So this one basically it's sitting in and this is where the ND64 is going to be best, is when you're in full sun, okay, or like I said, mounted on your drone. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and you can see I get a little bit more light, and you see the grass. Now, if you had a beach scene, this would be perfect for a beach. So if you were basically filming on a beach and you had clouds and you wanted to have ocean waves kind of moving or lapping, I would make the ocean waves like secondary, and I would move the camera behind grass, like ocean grass during midday. And I would set it up on a tripod, and I would get the grass in the foreground, watch the grass move, and you get that slower wave. You see how the trees further back are moving kind of like crazy. But what you want to do is you want to get the clouds and you want to get the foreground. So anytime you have grass, This would, you see that you get those, you get those light pulses every time you get a cloud moving over. But that's another really good example of, so this is basically, this here, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect here. But this is, hey, how you doing? How you guys doing? Hey, Blizzard. This is, but the price of the Action 2, you can't you just buy the Avata? No, well, you can. You probably are going to get. You're probably going to get. No, you can't, because the Avata. If you Blizzard, if you buy the Avata, I'm just going to tell you right now. First of all, I got this for $299. No, was it $299 or was it $399? You help me out there, Lone Star. Was it $399? I think it was. It wasn't $400. It was $299. I got it on sale. So I didn't pay full price for this thing. I think it was $320 something. Okay, $299, and then with the screen module, it was no, the Avata. If you want an Avata with 2 batteries, basically 3 batteries, you're going to pay $2,000 for that, guys. Okay, so no, it's but I understand where you're going with that. You're saying, hey, this stuff is expensive. What I'm saying is, if you already have this camera, that you need to just keep it. Yeah, $299, and then it was 3 something with the screen kit. Okay, let me go ahead and disconnect here. But that's playing right off the. Here's the other one I did. So you got this one, and then I got one closer to the house. Let me just go through. There's that one. There's that. These are playing right off of the. There's that one. There's me kind of running off there. That's one thing, is if you're going to you'll catch yourself. You'll catch the person shooting it. There's me basically walking out of frame. But here's a deeper angle with that same. But look at the clouds. Look at how dynamic the clouds are. Look at the shadows. This is why this camera is so good. And you see now, the only problem is, see when it gets dark, see when the light comes down, you're going to lose stuff at that point. But if you're looking for B-roll shots, that's kind of what happens anyway. So if you want more light and you want less, so you got to decide, what do I want? Do I want the bright colors? Do I want it to, how do I want it to capture its brightest colors? Because the big problem without a filter is you're going to get washout on those bright times as it's trying to compensate. So it just, the sensor has to work too hard. And with that NZ64, you're also getting a little bit of motion blur with the things moving. So anyway, I thought that would be kind of cool for you to see, just that clip right there, or that series of clips. But this is just adding a $20. I added a $20 filter to my camera, and that's it. Am I going to get the Action 3? Probably not. There's just no reason to go there. And the Action 3 is not expensive. I mean, if you look at the price of what they charge you for that, they have really undercut the market for the GoPro. And I don't see enough difference in the GoPro versus the Action 3 to warrant buying the GoPro. Some people just like GoPro color. They like GoPro. They're just, it's kind of like you're either an Android camp or you're with the iPhone camp. It's kind of that idea. But both of them are so good right now. And guys, this is a 1080p stream. So anyway, I just wanted you to see that. I wanted you to see those two versions. And let me just go ahead and I want to disconnect that really quick. They're literally side by side the same camera. And you can create a mount to mount this camera, and that'll also secure in, with a TPU mount, that'll secure on the ND filter. So will that ND filter come off? I don't know. But my biggest problem, I told you, my biggest problem I was having was that my footage was just too washed out. And I stopped using this. I went back to my Pocket 2 because my Pocket 2 footage was doing a good job managing the really bright light, even when I tried to put it in manual. So I got too much money tied up in accessories for the Action 1. And like I said, this one, you're not buying this, you're buying this. This is what you're buying, okay? You're not buying both. You're buying this. You're buying the convenience of this really compact and small size. To me, that is why I purchased it. I purchased it because it's tiny. And the tininess of it makes it different. With the Action 3, it's not different. My Action 1 already does a great job. And like I said, the Osmo Pocket gives me the concealment. I like the small size of my Osmo Pocket, or my Pocket 2. So there it is right there. So all my suggestion is today is to keep this, okay? Don't feel pressure that you have to go to the 3. I just don't think you're going to gain enough. And then just think about what ND filter you might want. A lot of people will go ND32, they'll go in between. I went, on this one, I decided to go all out and do 64 because I want to use this camera in its horizon lock for a couple of things. One is flying with the drone, and the other one is if I'm going to do any still vlogging, and I just want a camera I can set up that'll match the quality of my Pocket 2. This is going to match it better. It needs the filter. Otherwise, the footages are too different. It's just not the same. And it could be the size of the lens guard. It could be a lot of different things that are creating that what I consider to be that washed out footage. It's the stuff in the foreground is good, but the background is washed out big time. So, all right. So ND64, my suggestion to fix that problem. I will put a link on there. I bought this one through Amazon, and it came in just a couple of days. And you can buy individual filters. I do not suggest you buy a pack. They're really expensive when you buy a pack. Just buy the one you need. Just buy the one you're going to use most often. Just kind of like when on the Insta360, the SMO cam for our drones came out. It comes with an ND64. That is the filter that you need. So, all righty, guys. I have to be quick today. I've got things I got to do, but I thought I'd do a quick stream today. Think about that. Think about how you're going to be using your Action 2 if you have one. If you're still with the Action 1, you will jump up in quality with this. If you're already with the Osmo, if you have the Pocket 2, I would probably stick with the Pocket 2. You can do the same time-lapse, motion-lapse stuff, and you got the portability factor. So, all right, for Dad Random. All right, have a great Monday. Sorry, guys, it is Monday. Get back to work. It is going to be a great week, guys. But think about that, if you would. I apologize, but for my slow stream or my short stream, but I had one idea I wanted to get out. I didn't want to labor it longer than it really needed. So, all righty, I'm out of here. Have a good one. Happy Friday.
Finally, I paid my dues. Now you play the blues. Bottom line, you're out of time. Now you're gonna learn what it's like to lose.